Hey folks! Well, we're gathered here again today for another Life Lessons how-to video. As we know, with every how-to, there's always a life lesson. First, I want to thank our sponsor, the St. Joseph's Episcopal Church in Catskill, New York, for letting us film in their beautiful parking lot. So what are we going to learn about here today? What life lesson? Well, the other day I received a call from my spouse. They were panicking because the dashboard light had gone off in the car. This is really problematic, especially when driving on country roads. We live in the country, so there are no street lights, so if you don't have a dashboard light, this can be highly problematic. So I asked my spouse, do you know how to change a fuse? I'm pretty sure it's the fuse. They said they didn't know how to. So the life lesson here today, we're going to learn a few simple steps about how to diagnose and change a fuse in your car. So the first thing that you want to do is gather your tools. So what I have here is something called a Leatherman. It's a multi-purpose tool, and I use it because it's great in the car because I can have different functions. Today we're going to be using the needle nose plier function. You can also use a traditional needle nose plier if you happen to have one, and I also recommend you keep one in your car at all times. The other thing you may want is a flashlight. Regardless of the time of day that you plan to do this task, I think it's best to always have a flashlight, just so that you can have assistance when looking in at the fuse box. What is a fuse box? What does all of this mean? Well, that's what we're going to learn today here at Life Lessons how-to video. How to change a fuse. Now that we have our tools, the second step will be to diagnose and locate your fuse box. The third step after that is, of course, changing the fuse. So now that I've shown you my preferred tools, the needle nose plier and also a flashlight, I recommend again that you keep those items in your car, and we're ready to move on to the second step. So if all the dashboard lights are out, of course this is why I thought it was a fuse. No matter how fancy your car is, no matter how great it is and hooks up to all of these different gadgets, it still functions on simple electricity. So if a dashboard light is out, it might be your fuse. This could save you money from going to the mechanic. Who knows what kind of scheme they might claim. So the second step, after you've located your tools and you gathered your tools, is to make sure that you know where the box is. Now, how do you find a fuse box? What the heck is a fuse box? Either you have the manual for your car, or what you could do is simply Google search it. Google search, where is my fuse box with the model and make of your car? This will make it much easier to actually see someone, perhaps even on YouTube, showing you exactly where the box is. So once you've located the fuse box, what you want to do is also diagnose. In step 2, you locate and diagnose the issue. So what I've done here is located my fuse box. Wait a minute, that doesn't look like a fuse box. Oh, well actually if you remove this little thing here, you end up revealing this whole little world of tiny little bits that have numbers on them and are different colors. This is your fuse box. So another little thing that's interesting to note is that fuse boxes know that you have no idea what the heck this is. So they have simple little guides that teach you where and what everything is and how the fuses work for those items. Clearly, we want to look at something that indicates the dashboard. Mirror cigar, fog lamp, ABS, heater blower, radio water, wiper washer. Okay, well that's something that appears on the dashboard. Maybe that's one way that we can try and troubleshoot this. What you may have learned from this step is that you're not going to always find the fuse that may be diagnosed to the problem that you're having. However, in my car, I also know that there's a fuse box located under the hood. What I'm first going to do for the simple pleasure of this video is show you one item that might be a cause of the issue, which is the wiper washer. Wiper washer is located in a specific area. You've located your fuse box. You've located the fuse that might be associated to the problem, and what you do is use your pliers to actually pluck out the fuse. You can see how important it is to use a flashlight. In this step 2, what I'm doing is pulling out the fuse to diagnose the issue. This is what a fuse looks like. Oh, well, unfortunately, this fuse seems to be good. As you can see, that center coil is intact, and there don't appear to be any burn marks. Something else that I just want to point out while we're here is that every fuse also has a corresponding number on it. It's a color and a number, so that if you have no clue at all what you're doing, at least you can match these simple little numbers and colors that are located on each of these items. We're going to put this fuse back in because this diagnosis was a flop. Perhaps it's one that's underneath the hood. So of course now the third step would have been to replace that fuse, but we don't need to in this case. So the third step, replacing the fuse, as you just saw what I did with the needle nose plier with my tools, is yank out the specific fuse, If the coil was broken, what I would have done was replace it. So how the heck and where do I have these coils to replace the fuses? Well, your car also knows that this isn't something that you're aware of. So somewhere within your car, you'll actually locate a set of fuses. For me, that's located under the hood in the other fuse box. So I just want to wrap this simple how-to up here today because there is a greater life lesson in all of this. The first is that you want to know how to change your fuse. If you're stuck on a dark road in the middle of the night and you have no dashboard, that is the first place you want to look. You'd pull over safely, find your tools, locate your box, and replace the fuse. Now, of course, like all of our how-to videos, there is a greater life lesson in all of this. It's not just about how to change your fuse. What it really was about for me was learning how not to lose my fuse once I discovered that my spouse actually just turned the little knob off here in her dashboard, and that's the reason why the dashboard light was out. So be aware of your car, be aware of your fuse boxes, and drive safely.